there is an emerging expose, and basically by none other than its Gintu. Well, whether this story is true or not true, it depends on what kind of a bearing, a social bearing, the truth bearing, whether this Gintu is economical with the truth or is the truth expressively. And also it depends on how you've known Nasto for that long. You know, sometimes we're being told, you don't judge the messenger, you just get the message. But in this particular moment, I just want to tell you, sometimes the messenger themselves are as bad as message. There are some particular kind of message that are not supposed to be given other kind of people, or other kind of people should never be grasped. For example, if you're a politician or if of somebody who is of a moral high standing, therefore, anytime when you are sending a representative, send a representative the message that is so assonant with that kind of personality. That is it. We are not preaching the personality cult herein, but what we are preaching is the message that is carried itself with a vessel should be intangibly correspondent. It should commiserate the character and the vessel in itself that carries the message in itself. Therefore, with this Gintu, it's another story, because Gintu has told us several kinds of story and several kinds of truth or opinion that you don't know which one is the truth, which one is the lie. And even if you go even at Gintu's comment section, the Gintu's own subscribers are even telling him off. Guys, we don't believe you because what you're saying are not making sense. This story yesterday you told us this was XYZ, today you are telling us A, B, C, D, XYZ. So which way, Mr. Gintu? Well, I don't want to confuse us more into this story, but the best I could do right now, it is the Gintu story that is going to form our today's deliberation and discourse, because we want to demystify the facts. We want to demystify the opinion or the hot air and reduce them to just a mere vexations that are lacking content. Then we need to state the facts, and we need to also expose the Gintu further, because nobody should be carrying you just like a hot potato with a hot hair kind of a story. So guys, if you're coming across this channel for the very first time, kindly click on the notification bell so that whenever I upload a video, YouTube shall notify you instantly. To my loyal subscriber, may God bless you abundantly. So let's dive in after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my YouTube chit chat. My name is Zach, and this is my YouTube channel. So guys, I need to ask you a particular kind of question, but please be truthful. And this question, I beg you to provide your answer at the comment section. Question number 1. Between Gintu and Nasto, if they are positioned into a place or into a podium, then they pronounce themselves to an issue. Whom or who can you believe with the story? Another question, between Nasto and its Gintu, whom can you believe his story, whether you saw it, whether you don't see it, even at the first value? Who can you believe? I think the answer is known, and your guess is as good as mine, point blank. Because here is a place where we tell people point blank whether you're a liar or you're not a liar. So the answer in itself, even at the comment section, because I'm reading your answers even in my head, because I know I will believe Nasto 100%. The question that majority of people also might post, Zach, why are you saying that you believe in Nasto? One, Nasto is less dramatic. Nasto don't want drama. And Nasto normally think before he talks, because he knows sometimes the consequences of his actions and of vexations. Secondly, I haven't heard of any issue that Nasto has involved himself in an issues of a paradox, issues of a prank, of issue of a decoy itself. Therefore, any other kind of a person who wants to come with an issue that Nasto is a scammer, therefore you're daydreaming itself. A person who is calm and collected, even in the midst of a wrangle, even in the midst of chaos and violence, or a midst of what tension and what extravagances, in any form of adjective, how you might describe the situation itself. In the contrast, it's Gintu is a drama guy, a poster boy who's being used, an errand boy, a busybody, whose quest is to bring stories that are never making sense, stories full of mythical theories that have got no standard background, has got no origin, but things that is just thought, then find its lips just verbosely talking them or exhibiting them, even without the iota of respect. Therefore, Gintu is the contrast. Gintu, no one will believe Gintu, even if Gintu is given the truth, no one will believe the Gintu story. And therefore, that alone introduces us to the timelessness of this video, because at this time itself, Gintu is speaking to us, and Gintu is now very happy telling us that it's now exposing Nasto, that the issue of dogs itself. You know, let's listen to this audio, then at the end of it, I will come and give you the gist, and I will ask several questions so that we get to know which way Mr. Gintu, and what is the truth pertaining this kind of a clip. Because Nasto has spoken, therefore, who will you believe?
He has sold the dogs to the same trainer. Let me tell you what happened. When Nasto talked about you're going to be buying much of the dogs from one of the trainers in Isibania there, and he bought 2 of the puppies and brought them to the site. And that kind of a guy who was a trainer dog talked about he has a client, because I've already known how the data are going already into the system. Because that guy, today I was just having such kind of 2 or 3 tours here, and some people talk about, oh, how did you get to know this kind of the things here? Just relax, have a seat, very fantastic, and get the pinpoint how it was. So guys, it's this way. So this kind of a guy who was training much of the dogs in Isibania was having a client who needed bigger dogs, not the small puppies. So when he talked about, I want you to train, do you have this, talk about the sizable dogs that you can just sell to me? So this kind of a trainer talked about, can I go and buy this kind of the dogs from Nasto, so as I can exchange? Because when Nasto was buying this kind of the dogs from this kind of the guy, talked about you want the bulldogs, and this kind of the German shepherds here, they were just there because there were no bulldogs that were there during that time. So Nasto, whenever he heard that the bulldogs have already democratized to that kind of a trainer, he has brought the puppies. So he talked about how can we play a game. So he has to come out and talk about, guys, my dogs have been stolen. It was not a pathetic, it's a pathetic point whereby he's talking about the dogs were stolen, because I never wanted people to ask about why and where are the other dogs. So he had to surrender these other 2 dogs so as he can exchange to the bulldogs, because the bulldogs are a little bit expensive than the other German shepherd dogs that he was talking about. So the real fact is that trainer took this kind of the dogs from Nasto. It was around 10 a.m. in the morning, and he went there and took the dogs and just put them onto the, talk about, he came with one of the vehicle and put the dogs onto the, talk about, here we call it a boot, and somebody can talk about a trunk at the same time. So the little fact that is coming to the same event is the dogs were being packaged onto the trunk of the car, and they were being they were just taken to Sirari, and Nasto did not enter to the same car. What he did, he took his own motorbike, which is a model of Tanzania, and just made sure that is going, he could not accompany them so as he can sell, or he can sell himself whenever he could accompany them, because they had to go so as he can go as a visitor, so as he can just go and pick this kind of the dogs. So when he reached there, he got that there's a clientele who needed the same size of the dogs that Nasto had, so as they can be trained with that kind of a dog trainer in Isibania, so as this kind of the dogs can be sold at a higher price.
And you've had it with your own ears, 2 of them. And the video itself and audio got me thinking that it is the main reasons why I cannot believe Gintu anymore. One, I want to give you the chronological of these things. Gintu started that his dog is lost. Therefore, he wants people to believe that his dog is lost and is the owner of the story of dogs that were missing. Therefore, any other person who comes with a story that dog is missing, therefore that person must be lying or a liar. It's an irony that you want to tell your story, people to believe that your dogs are stolen, then when some other people are stolen from, therefore, you don't believe, you dispute. Therefore, you connect them to scams. Quite unbelievable. It's only into the world of its Gintu and the naysayers. They're speaking with the both end of the mouth. I don't know which one will exude better than the other. It will shock you. Number 2 is telling us that Nasto dogs were never stolen. Nasto sold the dogs. That one he never said, but it's titled its video. But when you went to the Gintu's video, you acknowledge that the dogs were indeed stolen even from Nasto. Therefore, from the Gintu's conflicting stories, the heading is conflicting with these stories then. Therefore, it tells you that there is a problem. That Gintu is dramatic. Gintu is so sensational. And he has mastered the art of getting drama when it comes to mastery of a content, which people love dramatic scenes. And that is what Gintu is good at. Another chronological story is now today is telling us that Nasto sold the dogs to the owner, the person who was training the dogs, or the person who sold Nasto dogs. That's where Nasto sold it, because Nasto was bankrupt. Now it's telling people now. These are the 3 scenarios that is so conflicting. So it tells you who is Gintu. So nobody can buy Gintu stories. And it comes just merely an afterthought, because the majority of people were pushing. Remember the video I did? When Gintu came and posted and given a hint and heading that because of bankruptness, Nasto sold the dogs to sort financial issues. So when you went to the story, Gintu started acknowledging that Nasto indeed lost the dogs. The dogs were sold from Nasto. And by that time, it's when Gintu's audience and subscriber started fighting Gintu. No, Gintu, your heading must say the exact thing that you are saying. It is not like they were defending Nasto. They wanted Gintu to maintain the narrative that Nasto's dogs were not stolen. Indeed, Nasto sold the dogs because of financial issues. And again, it's now an afterthought that Gintu also was forced by subscribers to come and maintain the heading in tandem with the story. So to tell the story concurrently with the heading, because they were poor. Because people also threatened Gintu that if you don't maintain that story, we are going to unsubscribe. There will be no support. I told you before, and that's why Gintu has changed the heart, and Gintu has decided now to bankroll the story in a different way to reflect Gintu as a scammer. And again, they've now recruited the Kohera senior, just now acknowledging that Gintu dogs were stolen, but his Nasto dogs were never stolen. Nasto want to scam people. I cannot believe them. Now it's time that now they are gagging up against Nasto, because there is a script that is already written. There's a script and a judgment they want to tell us. And I will tell you the why now they are narrowing down to Nasto. Another thing is, when I studied this Gintu long time ago, you remember Gintu with its Perez, with Ayam Perez, when he told Perez did an abortion. What happened? Mogisu was arrested, Gintu ran, and when Gintu now was confronted, Gintu said, let's Perez come and they sort these issues together because it was just bad for content. There's no truth in it. So the chronological events and the precedent is that Gintu is just doing content, sensational content to get drama and to make money itself, to bring all the clicks in his side. Therefore, there is no content of a form. They are not constructive engagement. They are there just to make money, there to make it so sensational, but the truth in it, it's zero. So that is Gintu. It is the same answer that you're telling me at the comment section, that you'll believe Nasto 100%, even whether Nasto has never spoken anything. But it's Gintu, there is precedence and a substantial ground to believe that its content is purely a paranoid, its content is purely so paranoid, a content is purely meant to dent the reputations of other people. So affront to the freedom of speech, because it is now akin to defamation in itself going forward. It's akin. It's Gintu has come up with another story, even at down. Now this Gintu is telling us that he was there. He went and met the person, the trainer of the dog, and he was told. Therefore, let's hear it, watch it, and at the end, I want also to ask a question to demystify
Nasto
such
passed
kind
us
of
few because he was having this kind of a motorbike model of Tanzania. Somebody can just understand it. It's called the Single, and the single, yeah, something like that. So when he was just passing, he just promptly went with the same road where the dog trainers is already area. So when I reached there, I found that Nasto is already out, and he talked about, yeah, Nasto was here paying some money here, and I was talking about, he said about the dogs are lost. The dogs are there being trained. That's the real fact, guys. I'm telling you the fact. The dogs are there at the trainer, and I talked about how can you now sell me this kind of the dogs, and he talked about no, you know, this kind of the dogs, that's why I took them from Nasto. There's a boy who was here, he's a YouTuber from Nyabonsi. He never knew who I am, and he never knew that because I never carried the camera whenever I'm just walking. So I was just having a phone, and whenever I just went there, because I was told that some of the dogs are always available there, so I wanted to have the small puppies. We're never going to have.
Gintu is telling us that Nasto passed him when Nasto was headed to Sirare or to the trainer of the dogs. Then Gintu also followed Nasto, and upon approaching where Nasto was, he never found Nasto. He found when Nasto has already taken the dogs. And therefore, again, there's a conflicting story saying now, telling us the owner of the dog met him and was telling him that the Nasto's dogs are still there and the dogs are in the training. Conflicting. You're telling us Nasto has taken the dogs. Again, you're telling us the dogs are there in training. And again, you're telling us you never had a camera. Gintu, okay, let's say you never had a camera. Let's give it to you. You don't have a camera. But you have a phone. Okay, view Nasto. View it, Gintu. Everywhere, Gintu is always doing content. Whenever Gintu doesn't have a camera, Gintu will record audio of what you're speaking about. The question that we should be asking ourselves, Gintu never recorded even a voice note of this guy. Where's the voice note? You're telling us this guy don't know you, that this guy wanted to sell you the dogs. And you know every nitty-gritty and details how the dogs were packed in the trunk of a vehicle. You're telling us you met this guy when this guy was selling Gintu, was selling Nasto dogs. At the end, you're telling us this person doesn't even know you. You are just there because you're fact-finding. You are fact-finding with a mission and without a recording object or a recording devices. You had a phone with you which could record most of the things. but you failed so how do you want us to believe your story? How do you want us to believe anything that you're saying? That alone is a substantial ground to offer you that Gintu lies big time. That Gintu is a sensational creature. Gintu is just a pathetic storyteller. Gintu is a serial and a pathological liar whom you cannot believe in his story. Therefore, at the end of this video, what I'm saying, Gintu is a liar. What I'm saying, they are now narrowing to his Nasto because they know Nasto is a weakling. They know Nasto won't rebut. They know that Marwa gave people strike in this street. Now they don't want to react to Marwa. Now they are starting to react to its Nasto. Or maybe they want to replace Nasto with Marwa so that they get new content from Nyabo Anze. So that Nasto become the new punching bag of Nyamuhanze going forward. Let me know what you think at the comment section. Until next time, this is your boy, Senior Zach.